everyone, and welcome to another round of 12 News Weekend. I'm Kariba Devine. Here at 12 News, we strive to bring you the very best journalism in the Valley. That is why each week we'll rewind the tape to show you some of our best stories. Some will make you laugh, some will make you cry, and some will make you feel. This is 12 News Weekend. You would be hard-pressed to find a ticket of candidates in any race across Arizona that's made up of a Republican, a Democrat, and an independent all running together.
But that's the case in Mesa, where the state's largest school board has 3 open seats. Joe Dana tells us why this team of rivals is joining forces.
School board races are not partisan elections, but the candidates often seek the local party's endorsement. In this case, 3 Mesa parents are crossing party lines to come together. They are the only 3 candidates in the Mesa school board race with kids who actually attend Mesa schools. And it just so happens Josh Chilton is a Democrat, Lacey Chaffee is an independent, and Courtney Davis is a Republican. How did this happen?
We did not know each other before this. We have met through this process. I was looking for people who believed in public education.
Simply believing in public education, they say, is not a given anymore, as a movement within the Republican Party promotes private school vouchers, opposes some local bonds, and seeks to eliminate or scale back social workers.
We want our kids to go to school, we want them to feel comfortable, we want them to feel safe, and that they're all welcome.
Courtney Davis, serving on the board now, did not get the endorsement of her local Republican Party precinct. Davis, a mom of 4 kids in the district, says what she has in common with Chilton and Chaffee is an appreciation for civility.
We're not going to always agree, we know that. But we can get things done and do it in a respectful and kind way.
Please be respectful.
Mesa Schools board meetings, like other districts, have been ideology war zones.
You're complicit with spreading BLM and transgenderism.
Chilton says he decided to run after sitting through one of those meetings earlier this year.
And I even saw a pastor come from out of state and called...
Out of state or out of the district?
Out of state.
And those who sit on this board who push demonic and satanic laws upon children.
People were cheering, and I said, this is not what most parents in Mesa feel. This does not represent me or the parents I know who have kids in schools.
These 3 say they worry about what they consider is hysteria over social issues. Sitting board member Rachel Walden, who has promoted conspiracies on a range of issues, sued the Mesa district over its guidelines for support of transgender and gender nonconforming students. A judge ruled the lawsuit had no standing, but the other 2 candidates running, Ed Steele and Sharon Benson, advertised Walden's endorsement for their campaigns. If they are elected, they will have the majority on the board. Steele and Benson, both Republicans, did not respond for comment. Steele vows, if elected, quote, "I will advocate for parental rights and listen compassionately and act responsively." Benson says, "I am passionate about education as I know it is the foundation needed for every child." During a time of intense pressure on these volunteer public servants, Arizona's largest district is at a crossroads.
I want 5 people with 5 different opinions who have to argue and disagree in respectful ways and come to the right decision for kids.
The next school board will have big decisions to make next year, including the possible hiring of a new superintendent. Joe Dana, 12 News.
A foul smell is hanging over parts of Laveen. People living near 35th Avenue and Dobbins think that the odor is coming from a composting facility operated by a company called Arizona Green Guys. 12 News obtained an inspection report from September 23rd where an inspector with the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality found what he described as brewery smells and a strong odor of decay coming from parts of the farm. Neighbors want the facility to get rid of the odors.
I would like them to stop doing it, to be honest. I believe that, we need to take care of Mother Earth and that we want to try to repurpose. But when you're this close to an area like ours and it goes, the smell really permeates, I think you have to have consideration for your neighbors.
Maricopa County inspectors did not find any air quality issues or public health nuisances. We reached out to Arizona Green Guys, but they would not comment on the issue.
Drivers here in Arizona could soon be paying more for gas after a bill in California gets final approval today.
The new legislation is meant to prevent a spike in gas prices. Karima Devine is in studio with why experts say the bill might actually raise prices across the Southwest. Karima?
Yeah, that's right. Possibly unintentionally. The California legislature passed a bill in a special session today by a vote of 41 to 16. Now, the bill is based on a proposal by California Governor Gavin Newsom, and he is expected to sign the bill into law within the next few days. Now, once the law takes effect, refineries in the state will be required to keep excess fuel on hand, and that would be to avoid shortages. Now, the goal is to prevent gas prices from spiking every time a refinery goes offline for maintenance. Now, California regulators say that refinery maintenance last year caused a spike that cost drivers up to $2.2 billion. But opponents say that this bill will only create more problems.
The California Energy Commission itself said that this could potentially create artificial shortages. So that means we're going to have to withhold product from the market. So that can absolutely increase prices. So it puts us in a pinch when anything goes wrong with the system. And that's where we start to see some of these spikes.
Now, both Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs and Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo sent letters to the California Assembly voicing their concerns. Now, they both said that drivers across the Southwest will see gas prices increase because of this policy. And the reason this is so important to Arizona is because Arizona gets roughly half of its gas supply from California refineries, guys. So we'll have to see what happens. The governor in California expected to sign this into law in the next few days.
Wow. And we've seen what can happen, a 20, 30-cent spike, in a week when a refinery goes down. So we'll see what happens with this. Karima, thank you.
Some terrifying video of a flash flood at the Grand Canyon back in August. A hiker from Gilbert lost her life and many others were stranded.
The hiking area of the remote Havasupai Reservation recently reopened after all that flooding. It's an international attraction. Yesterday, 12 News journalist Bram Resnick got an exclusive look at the canyon's recovery from the flooding. Here's what he saw.
I'm Bram Resnick on the most remote and most spectacular tribal reservation in the country. It's right here in Arizona. We left at 6 a.m. this morning from the trailhead, walking 8 miles down to the Supai village. That's the home of the Havasupai tribe. Then another 2 miles via ATV to this spot, Mooney Falls, the most spectacular of the 3 waterfalls. That blue-green water you see there, that gives the Havasupai tribe their name. It draws tourists from all over the state, all over the country, all over the world to this site. I'm sure you've seen it on Instagram, but that is nothing like seeing it in person.
And that was just yesterday. I can tell you that hikers have returned to Havasupai at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. A few more things I want to tell you about. Now, most folks are familiar with the entrance to the Grand Canyon National Park near Tucson. The Hualapai Hilltop Trailhead for hikers to Mooney Falls and Havasupai Falls and the village of Supai is about 3 hours away west of Tucson. Now, these scenes shot by 12 News investigative producer Katie Wilcox show the canyon has been cleaned up by tribal members. Streams are back to normal. The falls are a stunning blue-green again. The swollen floodwaters had transformed them into a muddy milkshake. Now, the hike for 10 journalists was arranged by Democratic Congressman and Senate candidate Ruben Gallego. It was part of his pledge to visit all 22 tribal nations in Arizona. The Havasupai Nation of just 500 people was number 20 on Indigenous Peoples Day. And I have to tell everybody, 12 News does pay all expenses for campaign trips like this one.
Wow. I mean, we've seen the beautiful photos and videos. I mean, it was pretty complicated. It's very secluded, right, to get there.
It is 8 miles down on foot. The only way to get there is on foot, on mule, or on a chopper, and that's it.
Wow. And the bigger story there is not just the stark beauty of this place, but that Ruben Gallego is trying to break through to this voting bloc, which in a state like Arizona could be significant. How has he done as far as making inroads?
Well, again, he's gone to 20 of the 22 tribes. He's visited them. The Havasupai, very interesting. 500 people live on the reservation. They only have about 150 voters. There are, in the 2024 election, 50 people voted for Joe Biden. He won 50-6 over Donald Trump. So not a lot of votes there in a Democratic stronghold, but he was going anyways because, as he told me, these people deserve to be heard.
Yeah. And like they say, every vote counts, right?
It sure does.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Bram, thank you.
Sure thing.
New Antenna Valley neighborhood says it's been overrun with those right there, coyotes. And look at that on the roof. Yeah, their pets, and even in some cases, have been killed because of the wild animals just hopping into their backyard. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly spoke with those neighbors in Arcadia this evening who say they are desperate for solutions.
The problem has gotten so bad that a state lawmaker is now getting involved. Neighbors telling me they're afraid to take their kids and dogs out for walks at night because they say there's a real possibility you might run into one of them.
From the streets to the tops of homes, neighbors say packs of coyotes can be seen roaming their Arcadia neighborhood near Indian School and 56th Street.
Oh, we're seeing them in everybody's yards.
Jan Saponaro says she's had a few run-ins with them.
I've seen them walk through alleys with big cats hanging out of their mouth.
Even claiming at one point she was chased by 3 coyotes while out for a walk.
Ran into a neighbor's house, and that was the start of my fearfulness in the neighborhood.
They've had coyotes before, but they've never seen this many. And in some cases, people have lost their pets because of them.
A coyote came, jumped the wall, and attacked the one and killed him, and the other one has been over $20,000 worth of medical bills now. Very, very unnerving to the people that are afraid to go out in the evening for a walk.
But the coyotes aren't stopping everyone.
I'm not too afraid of the coyotes.
Nora and her dog were out Friday night for a walk. While she's not worried, she understands people's concern.
I mean, if they have their own small dogs, you have small children, I think you can get kind of nervous about them.
Neighbors have taken action.
We hired a trapper, and we only caught one. So that didn't work.
Arizona Game and Fish has also been out.
I think they caught one.
Game and Fish says coyotes will take advantage of any food source, from pet food to pets themselves. For those who do come across one, they recommend making loud noises, which is why some neighbors are carrying these around. It's also recommended to not run away from the coyote. They may see it as an opportunity to chase.
State Representative Matt Gress has set up a meeting for residents here so they can speak with Arizona Game and Fish. That will be held next Friday. But again, they're hoping that this will be more than just a conversation and that action will be taken. We're in Arcadia tonight. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
So we all know how expensive food is lately. Latest studies estimate people here in Arizona individually spending anywhere from $200 to $400 a month just on groceries.
Yeah, it's a lot. Tonight, one man who's recovering from a kidney transplant turned to the state for help and told 12 News journalist Colleen Sikora that he's questioning how it decides the benefit amounts after he and his wife wound up with just $23 per month in benefits.
This year, Sid Levine has both navigated a kidney transplant and the Arizona Department of Economic Security.
It's been much harder with the DES than anything medical I've gone through.
Sid and his wife moved to the Valley for his transplant with the help of a former client, Mike Gallagher, as Sid's medical struggles, he says, has kept him out of work.
They're an elderly couple, and Patricia is basically Sid's caretaker. And so I continue to cover their rent and cover their APS utility bill.
But they've been doing what they can.
I did be able to get Social Security, myself and my wife, but you can't live on Social Security.
Including seeking Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP benefits, to help out with the couple's food expenses, physically going to DES.
Waited there for about an hour, gave me a list of documents that I had to make copies of and send it back to them. We didn't hear anything from the DES for a couple of weeks. Suddenly we got a call and they said, we see that there's nothing in your file. We went back and made copies.
Then getting another call after calling the ombudsman.
Why don't you come down and I'll stamp each page so it shows evidence that you were here and you did this.
Only to find out.
Well, we put all your information in the computer, in the scoring system that we have, or the rating system, and we can give you $23 for the month. And I said, excuse me? It's for 2 people to live on $23.
According to DES, that's the minimum for 1 or 2 people. $23.
My answer to that was, well, that'll get you a meal at Chick-fil-A. And that's it.
The reason? They're told because of Mike's help.
It's unfortunate that I would have to abandon them, basically, in order for their monthly stipend or whatever it is amount to increase. They end up homeless and evicted, and that's what we're trying to avoid here.
We brought Sid's case to the Arizona Department of Economic Security, a spokesperson telling us they can't talk about specific cases, but says the department follows federal and state laws for SNAP. And nutrition assistance benefits are calculated by taking the applicant's household income and expenses into consideration.
What would you tell them?
I'd tell them that that scoring system is wrong.
The average benefit for a two-person household is $372 per DES, 16 times higher.
$23 is something, but it's not enough in this regard. We have to do better.
Now left to navigate his appeal to DES.
Hopefully I'll bounce back and I won't need any help from anybody because I never did. I'm 66 years old and I never did my whole life.
Colleen Sikora, 12 News.
Let's talk some Suns. New head coach Mike Budenholzer. Guys, we got this great motto, and it's talk is cheap. Be about action, right? That applies to all areas, including getting to know his players, right? So this summer, after being hired as coach, Coach Bud reached out to center Jusuf Nurkic and asked if he could come visit him in Croatia to start building that relationship, right? And Coach actually showed up.
A lot of times my teammate be saying, oh, I'm coming, like, you know, and then when they come and be like, oh, wow, this is really great, amazing spots and food. Like, he really holds people accountable. And I think that's the number one thing I noticed, difference from any coach in my career. I have a lot of them. And, you know, I was really amazed that he got over his family and spent a few days with me.
It was a killer trip. I'm going to tell Nurk I might be coming back every summer. If you're going to say things like that, or, you know, talk is cheap, or, you know, you talk about building relationships and showing people and players that you care about them, you know, there's things that you have to do that. It can't just be talk. And so if that's what I have to do to show my care, I'm in for showing Nurk I care about him.
Yeah, if that's what he has to do to show his center. Hey, let's keep this relationship good. All four. By the way, look, this is where they visited. By the way.
Oh, so it was a real sacrifice for him to go over there.
It was tough to go visit his star center, right? I mean,
that's beautiful.
I think he's going to go back all the time.
Stunning.
Right? I think you got to make that normal trip.
Look at that walkway.
It's like the Caribbean. I don't think of Croatia looking like that.
Beautiful. So, by the way, Suns preseason finale tomorrow at home against the Lakers. Open 1 week from today in LA against the Clippers.
Can we go on the road with them when they go to Croatia?
We'll ask him.
Yeah, okay.
Talk is cheap.
Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, you can catch 12 News Weekend on Saturdays and Sundays on our YouTube channel and our streaming app, 12 News Plus. I'm Karima Devine. Have a great rest of your weekend.